They're exemplary, they're moral, they're doing what's absolutely necessary, but there are these legal technicalities to which I am bound in my role as a judge and within this legal structure that I'm a part of. Oddly enough, he said this after having just heard several days of expert testimony about how our political and legal structures in this country are not adequate to address the crisis that we face. He had just heard experts talking about how these legal structures are not working. And then he said, here is what I know is moral. Here is what I know we need to avert the great harms that we are facing as a society. But the way that my legal system works over here requires me to stand in their way. So I'm going to do that. And he then denied the necessity defense, refused to give necessity defense instructions to the jury, refused to allow the defense team to present the necessity defense in their closing arguments and connect all those dots for the jury. And then the jury came back in the room and the judge said, now you need to disregard all of that expert testimony that you've heard for the last few days. It's completely inadmissible, and you're not allowed to use it in making your decision. Basically, he was saying, don't think about the fact that your future is threatened, that your communities are under siege, and your rights are being taken away, and your democracy is broken. Don't think about any of that. He said, you have to follow these legal technicalities. Don't think about how your actions impact society. Don't think about the consequences of your actions, either for the defendants or for our world. Don't use ethics. Don't use morals. Don't use your conscience. Just look at what these legal standards say constitutes the elements of trespass and the elements of obstructing a train. And if you find that the facts in this case meet those elements, you have to convict. That is your job. So he presented this whole case that said, here's what I know is ethical. Here's what I know is legal. And I'm going to follow the laws of the system that I'm a part of. Which is something that was presented in a trial that looked at a major chapter of human history called the Nuremberg trials. And what came out of those Nuremberg trials is the Nuremberg principles, which then became international law, that if you were being required in the legal system that you're a part of, if you're being required legally to do something that you know is unethical, that you know is inhumane, and puts other people at risk, you have a greater moral obligation and now a greater legal obligation through international law established by the Nuremberg principle. You have a greater obligation to your fellow human beings than you do to that legal system.